Christmas was a few weeks ago as of this video actually going up, but I, probably like a lot of you, have a lot of vivid memories of Christmas days where I would get a video game console or a game, and I just wanted to share two of them with you. One in particular is 5th grade when I got Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 for the PS2. This game I played a lot. This is up there with Crash Team Racing, Smash Brothers Brawl. It's up there for me. One of my absolute favorites. But we're not talking about this game today. The one I remember the most, and I've talked about it before, was when I was in kindergarten at the age of 5 years old, and I got a Game Boy Color with Pokemon Yellow. This is the original Pokemon Yellow I had when I was 5 years old, and the Game Boy Color doesn't exist anymore as far as I can tell. I traded it to a guy in 3rd grade for a Blue Eyes White Dragon card. And that was probably one of the worst decisions of my life. Skylar, you definitely got the better end out of that deal. I know you've seen the title of the video already, you know what's happening, but let's just pretend for a second, and let's do one of the old YouTube gaming cliches. I've never done them on the channel before, I really want to. Let's pop this bad boy in on see how this looks. Wait a minute. I never put the game in, and Raichu's not supposed to be there. Oh, it's on my computer. That makes sense. Obviously, by the title of the video, we're playing Pokemon Yellow with Raichu. I watched Scott's Thoughts video on playing through with just a Pikachu, and Pikachu is very bad to use in a playthrough by itself. So, I was wondering if it would be any better using Raichu, a Pokemon that, honestly, you probably have never used in Yellow. In terms of stats, Raichu, being an evolved form, is obviously an upgrade, but calling it an upgrade isn't strong enough. Other than Pikachu's speed, which admittedly is not a pushover, its stats are miserable. Compare that to Raichu. While it's not a phenomenal stat set, it's ranked 50th out of the first 151 in stat totals in Gen 1, it's an upgrade for sure. The attack and special being the same total is not something I really expected, but everything just gets an all-around upgrade. Raichu's moveset is non-existent. Because it evolves with a stone, it has no moves other than its starting set of Thundershock, Tail Whip, and Thunder Wave. Luckily, it has a decent TM move pool, but we're going to learn the pitfalls of this move pool as we progress through the game. The rules are regular for these runs, only using Raichu in battle, no items in a battle, no evolving Raichu, etc. Also, that last one is clearly a joke. Raichu didn't get an evolution till much later, obviously. I nicknamed Raichu after one of my buddies from college. His favorite Pokemon was Raichu, and I know he's watched a few of my videos. Raichu has been named after Jeff, full name Jefferson. Hope you're doing well, dude. So here's something. When you beat your rival in Oak's lab, he says, "No way! I picked the wrong Pokemon." Well, no, that's not your problem, bro. You used Tail Whip 3 times in a row. That's where you messed up, you goofball. Here's the fun part of the run, and I say fun incredibly loosely. I've had to use Struggle to get by Brock before with Abra. Yeah, duh, gotta use Struggle because Abra has nothing. Raichu is almost worse because it's not a bad Pokemon, but because it learns no moves naturally, we're on the struggle bus. Population? Raichu and me. I tried every few levels just to see how long it would take to get past this fight. At the lower levels when I barely beat Geodude and still had to deal with Onix, those weren't fun. Eventually around level 16, Geodude would go down with me at about half health. Onix just has a really big defense stat. HP stat is bad, but early game and resisting struggle make up for that stat. At level 19, I tried a different strategy. Instead of burning all my moves, I kept 6 growls. This let me lower Geodude's attacks so I would have more health left over for Onix. And the first time I tried this out, I won. It was kinda shocking. I had a little over half health for Onix this time. It did use Screech a few times, so I was getting free hits, but whenever Onix would land an attack, it hurt a lot more. And then around the bottom of its health, it used Bide, giving me at least 3 turns to take it down, and I got the win. Then I did something I don't normally do. I loaded an old save file. I went and burned 2 growls, so I had 4 PP left on the move instead of 6. 4 growls was all it took for Geodude to start only doing 1 point of damage in the battle, so I wanted to know if those 2 turns would make a huge difference, potentially meaning I could have won at a lower level. I learned that I got incredibly lucky in the battle I did win. Onix obliterated me this time. I even had less health after Geodude than when I did win. I can't explain it. I tried being consistent and giving you people more content. This is what I get for it. In Mount Moon, I got Mega Punch, so I could do damage to ground types without having to drain all my other attacks. But it's actually a stronger move than Thunder Shock at this point. Like I said earlier, in Gen 1, Raichu's attack and special are the same level at 90. And Thunder Shock does 60 damage with Stab, and Mega Punch does straight up 80. So unless I'm battling a water or flying type, we're just gonna punch it. I avoided all battles that weren't mandatory and went straight for Misty. Staryu actually did more damage to me than Starmie did. We knew it wasn't going to be a tough battle, but Starmie kind of freaked out on me only using Harden after getting an X-Defend. I know it's because the Gen 1 AI Misty has it to not use a water type, but still, do a little bit better, Misty. The rival battle on the Nugget Bridge reminded me of an old friend, Sand Attack. I feel like it's been a while since I've actually struggled with this move. Sandshrew hit me pretty good here. And Eevee hit me a few times too. I still won, don't worry about that. But man, Sand Attack is just annoying. Then on the SSN I got Body Slam. And this move is just so good. Honestly, give me your opinion. Would you want a best moves in Gen 1 video from a casual standpoint? If you've seen me do a Nuzlocke, you know I'm an incredibly casual person when it comes to battling, so it would not be from a competitive standpoint at all. Anyways, without critical thinking, I really think Body Slam is the best move in Gen 1. That's without researching, but still. It's a really good move. And now the moment you've probably been waiting for. Raichu versus Raichu. And it wasn't super eventful. For one, I used Thunder Wave at the beginning of the battle, honestly just to see if it can hit electric types in Gen 1. It can, that changed in Gen 2. So I had it paralyzed for extra insurance. But then Surge used an X speed, maxing out its speed. So I think that negates the speed cut from paralysis. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know nearly as much as I should about the actual coding mechanics of these games. Like, I hear people say badge boost glitch. I've been told it happened in my videos from time to time, but I genuinely don't understand what it is, because I feel like people just say it happened rather than explain why it happened. Is that embarrassing? Have I only gotten as far on YouTube out of dumb luck? Absolutely, not gonna argue that at all. By the way, the battle ended a while ago. I got way more existential than I meant to. Let's talk about Raichu again. The Pokemon Tower rival battle happened, and I mean, it happened. And Erica's battle just wasn't fun or interesting, and it took about 6 attempts. All I could do was just use Body Slam over and over and over. Hope I got a paralysis, even though it seemed like it never took effect. I genuinely think I set the controller down after this battle and just kind of sighed out of boredom. I'm getting a little emo this video. I don't think I've been in contact with an alien symbiote. Now instead of going through the game corner, I grabbed a Pokédoll to skip that portion of the game entirely. I wouldn't have gotten a ton of levels, but this keeps Raichu at a lower level to keep things more interesting. Jesse and James were rocked by Thunderbolt too. I think Meowth, Ekans, and Coughing have like a secret electric weakness. Just bless them. I tried battling Koga, but at such a level disadvantage, it just wasn't gonna happen. So I went to Saffron to climb the Silph building, and thought I could maybe get lucky against my rival. Well, the first attempt, Sandslash just wrecked my face. But on the second attempt, I got really lucky with a paralysis and critical hit. And the rival even used a potion. Not super, hyper, anything. Just a regular potion. Gen 1, ladies and gentlemen. Ninetales only used Quick Attack on me, probably because of how low my health was, and I was able to take it down with only a fraction of HP left. Cloyster and Kadabra were both taken down in one hit. Could I get lucky? Well, Jolteon went first and missed Pin Missile, so I landed a Body Slam. It used Pin Missile again, missed again. It only has 85% accuracy in Gen 1, but wow! One more Body Slam put it in red. It then used Sand Attack. I missed my next move, then it got me. I was this close to cheesing my way through. On the bright side, it only took a few more attempts to win. I learned that Sandslash has Poison Sting, which I remember from previous runs, but always forget until I relearn it at this battle. and Poison Sting is a lot better to get hit by than any of his other moves. Even if it poisons me, it does so much less damage than Swift and Slash. I paralyzed Sand Slash off of a critical body slam, it missed Sand Attack, hit with Poison Sting with no poison, and I had almost all of my health. This boded very well. Ninetales didn't hit too hard at all, Cloyster and Kadabra were no big deal. Then I was able to just actually attack Jolteon. Its double kick isn't very strong, and neither is Pin Missile. I just never knew this because I was so low on health every other time I made it that far in the battle. I grabbed Lapras as my surfer and named it Esther. I don't know if I've ever used this name for a Lapras before, but shout out to you if you understand why I gave it this name. Haven't done that in a while. And in the meantime, Jesse and James blasted off. Giovanni wouldn't be tough if it weren't for Rhyhorn. I just couldn't hit hard at this point, but I remembered something I saw on Raichu's TM list. Submission. It's a fighting move, and the only other attacking move that's not electric or normal type that Raichu can learn. Actually, it can learn Seismic Toss, but that's also fighting, and it's a set damage move. When I returned with Submission, Giovanni's team wasn't a problem at all now. Thunderbolt for Nidorino and Persian, Submission for Rhyhorn, and Body Slam with a Paralysis for Nidoqueen. The lucky part here is that his team doesn't have ground-type moves yet. The problem with Sabrina wasn't that I was outclassed. The problem was when she would use X-Defense. I don't think I've ever beaten her when she's used these things, because it destroys every chance you have if you're not overleveled. The easy way to beat these psychic monsters is just hit them really hard because of their low defense. The X-Defense obviously cover that. I had to attempt this quite a few times before I got a win. And I tried getting creative. If Sabrina was going to use X-Defend, I thought I'd use Mimic to steal Psychic. Even though it's not a super effective move on them, it's got a chance to lower Special, which would just work out in the long run. Except the one time this actually happened, even with like 3 stages lowered on Alakazam's Special, it just didn't do much. It still hit really hard. And unfortunately, I beat Sabrina without even paying attention to the game. I was literally playing Disney Emoji Blitz on my phone while spamming A to hit Body Slam over and over. I wish I could say that they were today's sponsor. Disney, if you're listening, you're probably lost. But come on, you know you want to sponsor a junior high math teacher. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I went back to Koga, the level jump helped significantly, but I used Mimic to steal Psychic again, which actually did something now. Since his entire team is part poison, it just wrecks everyone. It made the battle much, much easier for me. Blaine was beaten solely out of luck. I got lucky with crits at the right time, and moves missing at the right time. I'm just going to leave the footage playing in the background so you can see it instead of me just detailing it. It was plain old luck, and there's no other way around it. Not upset about it at all. If you are upset, I'm sorry, I guess. Everything's going to be okay. And now Giovanni's learned how good ground moves can be against Raichu. As you can see, one single Earthquake from Dugtrio wrecks me. The next time I got lucky with a crit Body Slam, and Dugtrio missing Fissure, which could have actually really messed me up. Persian was faster than me too. Use Slash took me to 37 health. No big deal. I have a fighting type move I can use to one-shot it, and I forgot that it deals recoil damage. So yeah. This battle took me a good long while to finally finish. I tried using Mimic to steal Fissure and Earthquake from Dugtrio to just see what would happen. At the earliest levels, Dugtrio was faster than me, and one-hit KO moves are calculated using speed in Gen 1, so I got knocked out by this move a good few times. As long as Persian didn't use Slash, getting that almost guaranteed critical hit, I was okay battling it. But the rest of Giovanni's team has Earthquake, so there was no way to survive hits. I had to hit hard and in as few turns as possible. I leveled up a little, got faster than Dugtrio, and mimicked Fissure, hoping for luck to be on my side. And every once in a while, just spamming Fissure would get me to ride on. The good thing about Giovanni is that he uses guard specs on almost every Pokemon, and all that does is prevent stat-changing moves. Since that didn't factor into my strategy at all, it basically gave me a free turn. I started opting for Earthquake instead of Fissure just so I could guarantee a strong hit, and then I just started leveling up by 2 levels, starting around level 50. Obviously the fight got slightly more and more manageable each level up. I got to where high rolls would take out Dugtrio with just Body Slam, and around the late 50s would actually take out Nidoqueen with high rolls. The problem is, I could effectively only take 2 hits the entire fight. When I finally won, I mimicked Earthquake. Giovanni used a guard spec on Dugtrio, and Earthquake got a crit to take it out. I used Thunderbolt instead of Submission on Persian, and it almost one-shot, but it only used Fury Swipes, dropping 22 points of health. And I took it out next turn. And on a very clutch high roll, Earthquake took down Nidoqueen. And then again on Nidoking, I felt good. Leveling up helped tremendously. And it took 2 Earthquakes on Rhydon, but Giovanni used a guard spec instead of just finishing me off like he probably could have done. Finally. After beating Giovanni, I thought the rival battle would be a little bit easier. And it wasn't. It was much easier. I used Mimic on Sandslash to see what moves I could use for the rest of the battle, and I settled for Slash. Slash is not bad at all. In fact, it's what I used for the rest of this battle, but the other moves were most definitely not good. But the rest of the battle? I know I'm at a good level, but this is not much of a battle in the slightest. Totally fine with me, though. And since I had a type advantage over Lorelei, this should have been an easy match. And it kind of was. Literally all of her team, except for Jinx, is weak to Thunderbolt. And Raichu is not a special powerhouse, but it's definitely no slouch. My first go-through I used Submission on Jinx, hoping the Ice and Psychic type would cancel each other out on the type weakness, and it only fell to red health. It didn't do anything to me on that one turn to attack, but still, I didn't like that. Then Lapras was no big deal, I just had to land a Thunderbolt. But Thunderbolt only put it in red, just barely hanging on. Then it used Body Slam, paralyzed me, used Confuse Ray for good measure, so I did some damage to myself, then finished me off with Hydro Pump. Everything that could have gone poorly in that last bit happened. Attempt 2 was the exact same until I got to Jinx. I used Mimic on Jinx and took Thrash, and it only used Double Slap. Thrash got a critical hit on Jinx, so I was actually locked into Thrash on Lapras, and it didn't do nearly as much damage as Thunderbolt would have done. So I kept thrashing, got hit by Body Slam and Confuse Ray, but Raichu just kept thrashing. I never took it for a thrash metal fan, but hey, you know what? Some people know what they like. As for Bruno, we don't talk about Bruno. Except we actually need to for once. It was a one-time battle, don't worry about that. I just had to make that reference. Love that song. I used Submission on Onix, and it didn't take it down. Kinda surprised on that one. But 2 did knock it out, and it only landed Slam. I didn't even heal between the battles. Then I got a little tricky against Hitmonchan. I'm a stubborn person, ask my wife, but I'm not going to be too stubborn where I don't admit where I make mistakes. And learning Submission has not paid the dividends I hoped it would. I mimicked Ice Punch from Hitmonchan so I could actually take down the next Onix. Hitmonchan did hit me with Fire Punch, doing a tiny bit of damage. Then, Thunderbolt one-shot both it and Hitmonlee. I punched Onix with the might of 1,000 icebergs, and it was incredibly effective. How does Raichu punch with those little nubs? And Machamp missed its one move. 2 Thunderbolts, and it was done. That's really why we don't talk about Bruno. I'll stop now. Agatha only took 2 attempts to beat. So far, each of the Elite Four members have only taken 1 or 2 attempts to beat, and I'm typing this before battling Lance and the rival, so if this pattern continues, I'll honestly be impressed. The first Gengar led with Lick, which didn't paralyze me, but I was afraid of getting paralyzed by this. Thunderbolt did the job though, and on Golbat, Thunderbolt was incredibly effective. Haunter didn't go down in one hit, and did paralyze me with Lick. This wasn't so bad, however. I couldn't be put to sleep for the rest of the battle and be hit with Dream Eater. Against Arbok, I did get a little worried. Because I took that cut to my speed, Arbok was definitely going to hit first, and it had Wrap. It didn't do a lot, but these multi-turn trapping moves in Gen 1 are very overpowered if you're the faster Pokemon. But it missed one turn, and I wasn't paralyzed, knocking it out. Then came Gengar, and it couldn't use Dream Eater, so I thought I would just use Thunderbolt to finish it quickly. But it had Psychic, and boy, that did hit hard. And it could still use Confuse Ray, which is what it did. If I had just gotten lucky and landed hits, I would have been fine. But I was paralyzed, confused, and just couldn't win the first go-through. The second time, though, I didn't get paralyzed by Haunter, didn't get wrapped by Arbok, and had a ton of health for Gengar. I even mimicked Psychic, so I had a super effective move. I went first, and even lowered its special. It did land Confuse Ray, but Raichu is a monster and didn't hurt itself this time. Attaboy. Good job, bud. And Lance probably should have taken 2 attempts to beat, because I made a very poor play. But the Dragon Master only took 1 attempt, despite my best intentions. Gyarados, well, it's Water Flying. I have Thunderbolt. I used Mimic on the first Dragonair, intending to steal Ice Beam so that I had a good move to knock out Dragonite with, and take care of the other Dragonair. Except, this is the moveset for the first Dragonair. No Ice Beam. The second Dragonair is the one that has Ice Beam. So I took Hyper Beam instead, and it actually knocked out Dragonair 1 and 2 in just 1 hit. So that bad play wasn't too critical in the outcome of the fight. And I was faster than Aerodactyl, which was a very nice surprise. So Thunderbolt was a one-shot with no chance of it attacking. The Pikachu line isn't great, but its speed stat is definitely one thing that makes it viable. And on Dragonite, I did half health damage with Thunderbolt, as close to expected, but it used Hyper Beam. And I survived with red health. I didn't expect that in the slightest. So another Bolt of Thunder, I guess Lightning, I don't know, and that was it. Lance is not very good. Maybe a run using his team would be interesting. It's not like he has a terrible moveset as it is, it's just weird. And the rival battle, this one didn't take 2 attempts either, but not for good reason. It took many attempts. Sandslash is just flat out unbeatable without luck. Even Giovanni, there was slight strategy and not complete reliance on luck. But Sandslash can take out Raichu in just 2 Earthquakes, and it will literally only use Earthquake. The first time I got past it, I had 2 crits in a row, and that was all that let me get past. And no matter how many times Body Slam would paralyze it, it never stayed paralyzed. The first time I did get past, I made it all the way to Jolteon, and honestly, probably could have won had it not been for Exeggutor. It used Leech Seed on me, and it sapped just enough away of my health for it to matter. Everything else isn't really a trouble. If I could just get by Sandslash, I can handle the rest of the team. I don't know how many times I had to replay this battle, but it was a lot. Way too many if we're being honest. I did get a tiny bit tricky down the road. Submission was a no-go, so loaded an old save file and grabbed Reflect. It doubles your defense, and it's not like it made a huge difference in the battle, but it did at the same time. It made it where it took 3 Earthquakes to take me down instead of 2, but it took a turn to set up Reflect, so I was kind of hitting a wall. But this kept Mimic available for the rest of the fight, and you'll see why that was convenient later. I used all 6 of my rare candies too so I could level up, and I hate doing this, but it just had to be done. Sandslash was not beatable at that level without extreme luck, instead of just a little bit of luck. I set up with Reflect, Sandslash hit with Earthquake, taking a third of my health. Body Slam paralyzed Sandslash, but it landed the next Earthquake, leaving me in yellow. But another hit and I was dead. Luckily I had a crit Body Slam, and moved on to Alakazam. I saved Mimic for this Pokemon so I could grab Recover and get health back. I just had to hope it wouldn't knock me out. It used Psybeam, but I stayed at 14 health. Used Recover, it missed Kinesis, ironic, and landed Body Slam. But that didn't knock it out. But it used Recover, not recovering enough to withstand another Body Slam. And on Exeggutor, I had a choice. I started using Body Slam, got hit by Leech Seed, and could have taken it out. But I didn't, and used Recover for insurance. Then got put to sleep. The battle with Exeggutor took a total 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I was just stuck in this loop of using Recover when I woke up. All because Leech Seed kept slowly draining health. Barrage and Stomp weren't too bad, especially since I had Reflect, and as boring and tedious as it was, I did not want to have to wait for luck against Sandshrew again. I kept using Recover each chance I got until I felt comfortable, then I finally got to take it down. Cloyster was knocked out by Thunderbolt. Ninetales took 2 Thunderbolts, but it missed Fire Spin, which has an accuracy of 70 in Gen 1, so this wasn't like a Gen 1 1 in 256 chance of missing thing. Wait a minute, Fire Spin has a lower accuracy than Blizzard and Fire Blast, and the same as Thunder in Gen 1. Why on earth would you use this move other than for trapping a Pokemon? Anyways, Jolteon used Quick Attack. but I had so much more health. I used Body Slam, paralyzed it, it fought through with Quick Attack again, but it couldn't do enough to stop Raichu, successfully getting me the victory. If it weren't for the outright resistance to ground types and lack of moves that can counter ground types effectively, Raichu really isn't a bad Pokemon to use. In fact, I think it's proved itself really useful, save for the ground types I mentioned. I used Alolan Raichu in Moon for my first playthrough, but I think I might try out the Kantonian Raichu sometime in a playthrough. It's earned itself a pretty good rest after this run. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment telling me your opinion on the song We Don't Talk About Bruno. I know you're tired of hearing how much these things help channels on YouTube, but YouTube does not support the little guy, and these things do make a big impact. I'm just thankful for you folks that watch my videos at all. Make good choices, have an awesome day, and until next time, see you later! But we're not talking about that one today.